The Galactic Council's envoy ship hung in Earth's orbit, a silent emissary against the backdrop of humanity's home. Inside, Ambassador Velyn Trix stood with a mix of confidence and unease, his sleek robes a stark contrast to the utilitarian design of the humans' vessels visible on his monitor. The stories surrounding this peculiar species had always intrigued him, creatures of extremes, bound by no discernible logic. They had no unifying belief or singular ruler, yet defied the galaxy's mightiest powers with an audacity unmatched by any other species. The Council's latest directive was clear. Earth had to join the Federation, or at least be subdued. Humanity's increasing influence had become a threat, not because of their technological advancements, but because their ideas were spreading. Defiance, independence, and most disturbingly, unyielding resilience in the face of overwhelming odds had started to inspire rebellion among the Council's more subdued member species. This meeting was to be the last diplomatic attempt before drastic measures were authorized. As the shuttle descended through the atmosphere, Earth's unfiltered view filled the windows with sprawling landmasses and vast oceans. Velyn couldn't help but marvel at the planet's raw beauty. The humans' world looked vibrant, alive, and chaotic, much like the species itself. His aide, an insectoid named Carex, interrupted his thoughts. "Ambassador, our sensors indicate they're deploying unconventional flight patterns. Shall I order a higher orbit?" "No, Carex," Velyn said, waving a hand dismissively. "Humans are known for their unpredictability. It's part of their charm, or so I'm told. Let them flaunt their antics. It's meant to intimidate us." The shuttle landed on a fortified airstrip where a group of humans waited. Velyn observed them closely as the doors opened and the scent of Earth's atmosphere seeped in. The humans wore mismatched uniforms that spoke of pragmatism rather than ceremonial grandeur. At their center stood a tall woman with a commanding presence, her eyes sharp and calculating. She introduced herself as Commander Elena Ward, the lead representative for Earth's Defense Council. "Welcome to Earth, Ambassador," she said, extending her hand. The gesture seemed simple, but Velyn hesitated. Was this a test? A human trap? Humans had a way of making even the most innocent interactions into something unpredictable. Yet, seeing no immediate threat, he reciprocated the gesture. Her grip was firm but not aggressive. "Thank you for receiving us, Commander Ward," Velyn replied, trying to keep his voice neutral. "The Council hopes this meeting will pave the way for mutual understanding." Elena smirked slightly, an expression Velyn couldn't decipher. "Mutual understanding? That's an interesting choice of words." The group moved toward a makeshift conference room housed in what humans referred to as a bunker. The structure was unassuming yet radiated the same pragmatic efficiency that seemed to define their species. Inside, tables and screens were cluttered with data, while the faint hum of distant machinery filled the air. Velyn began the meeting with his prepared speech. "Humanity has shown remarkable resilience and innovation. The Galactic Council values these traits, and it is in the interest of the galaxy that Earth joins our Federation. Cooperation will bring stability, prosperity, and—" Elena raised a hand, cutting him off. "Let's skip the sales pitch, Ambassador. We both know this isn't about prosperity or stability. It's about control. The Council doesn't like what it can't control." The bluntness of her words startled Velyn. He paused, choosing his response carefully. "Control, Commander Ward, is a necessity in a galaxy as vast and diverse as ours. Chaos breeds conflict." Elena leaned forward, her expression turning steely. "An order under the Council's banner breeds oppression. We've seen what happens to species that cooperate with your Federation. They lose their autonomy, their culture, and sometimes even their survival." Velyn tried to maintain his composure. This wasn't how these meetings usually went. Most species responded with deference or, at worst, reluctant compliance. But humanity seemed to thrive on confrontation. Carex, sensing his superior's unease, chimed in. "Surely there is a middle ground. The Council does not demand assimilation, only adherence to shared principles." Elena's laugh was sharp, almost mocking. "Principles? Let me tell you about your principles." The Carthi were forced to abandon their ancestral lands because the Council decided it was better suited for mining. The Tryn lost their ability to self-govern because their traditions were deemed inefficient. Do you really think we haven't been paying attention? The room grew tense. Velyn could feel the weight of every gaze on him, the humans' defiance palpable. Yet, as much as their words stung, he couldn't dismiss them entirely. Perhaps, he began cautiously, the Council's methods are flawed. But the galaxy's stability. Stability isn't peace, Elena interjected. It's fear disguised as harmony. Earth isn't interested in playing by your rules. Before Velyn could respond, a sudden alarm blared through the bunker. Human soldiers sprang into action, their movements swift and coordinated. Elena's demeanor shifted instantly from diplomat to commander. Ambassador, your ship's orbit is being intercepted, she said, her voice sharp. Velyn's heart sank. By whom? Not us, she replied. One of your own council fleets. Looks like they've decided diplomacy isn't fast enough. The screens lit up with footage of a massive council dreadnought descending toward Earth. Its weapons systems were unmistakably active. Velyn's comm device buzzed with frantic messages from his crew. This wasn't authorized, he exclaimed, rising to his feet. The Council would never. Elena gave him a hard look. The Council doesn't ask. It takes. As Earth's defenses scrambled to respond, Velyn found himself caught between two forces. He had come to negotiate, not to escalate a war. Yet here he was, a pawn in a game far larger than he'd realized. Ambassador, Elena said, her tone softer but no less resolute. If you truly believe in diplomacy, you'll stop this. But if you're just another mouthpiece for the Council, then you'd better get out of our way. Velyn hesitated, his mind racing. Everything he thought he knew about humanity, about their insanity, their defiance, was being rewritten before his eyes. They weren't reckless, they were relentless. And now, he had a choice to make. As the first shots fired in Earth's orbit, Velyn's resolve hardened. If the Council wanted to force its will upon humanity, it would have to do so without him. The Council dreadnought loomed above Earth like an ominous shadow, its massive hull bristling with weaponry that could annihilate entire cities in an instant. On board, Admiral Corlin stood at the helm, his gaze fixed on the planet below. He had little patience for diplomacy, especially with species as volatile and defiant as humanity. To him, this was a simple matter of bringing a rogue world to heel. Meanwhile, in the bunker below, Commander Elena Ward's team worked with relentless focus. The holographic display showed the dreadnought's approach, its trajectory unwavering. Earth's defense grid had already begun its activation sequence, but against a ship of that size and power, their chances of survival were slim. Elena turned to the ambassador, her expression a mix of urgency and frustration. You said you came here to negotiate, Ambassador. So tell me, can you call off your fleet, or are you as powerless as we suspected? Velyn's face tightened. I didn't authorize this. The Council operates with layers of command, and it seems Admiral Corlin has taken matters into his own hands. Believe me, I had no intention of escalating this. Intentions don't matter now, Elena shot back. That dreadnought isn't here for tea and diplomacy. Either you help us, or you get out of the way. The bunker shook as the Council ship fired a warning shot, its energy beam cutting through the atmosphere and detonating harmlessly over the ocean. The message was clear: comply, or face annihilation. Velyn felt the weight of the moment crushing down on him. He was a diplomat, not a soldier. Yet here he stood, caught in the middle of a confrontation that threatened to spiral out of control. He glanced at Carix, who was furiously typing commands into a console. Do we have any way to contact the Admiral directly? Carix nodded. I'm patching through now, but I can't guarantee he'll listen. As the connection opened, Corlin's face appeared on the screen. The Admiral's sharp features and cold eyes radiated authority. Ambassador Trix, your presence is noted, but your role here is irrelevant. This planet has defied the Council for too long. It's time to restore order. This is madness, Admiral! Velyn exclaimed. Earth's resistance is ideological, not military. An attack like this will only solidify their defiance and inspire rebellion across the galaxy. Corlin's lips curled into a sneer. And you believe allowing them to continue unchecked will lead to peace? You're a diplomat, Trix, not a strategist. Leave the war to those who understand it. Elena, overhearing the exchange, stepped forward. Corlin, is it? Let me make one thing clear. If you think Earth will roll over and surrender, you've severely underestimated us. Corlin's gaze shifted to her, his expression amused. And who might you be? Commander Ward, she said, her voice steady. And while you're busy underestimating us, we're preparing to show you just how dangerous humans can be. Corlin chuckled, but there was an edge of uncertainty in his tone. Bold words for a species standing on the brink of annihilation. The screen went dark as the Admiral cut the feed, leaving the room in tense silence. Elena turned back to her team. How long until the defense grid is fully operational? 5 minutes, Commander, one of her engineers replied. But it won't be enough to stop a ship that size. It doesn't have to stop it, Elena said. It just has to buy us time. She turned to Velyn. If you want to prove you're not like the rest of your council, now's your chance. Help us. Velyn hesitated, the weight of the decision pressing down on him. He had spent his career believing in the power of diplomacy, in the idea that words could bridge even the widest divides. But this was something else entirely. If he walked away now, Earth would burn, and he would be complicit in its destruction. I'll do what I can, he said finally. But if we're going to stop Corlin, we'll need to act quickly. Elena nodded, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. Then let's get to work. As the bunker buzzed with activity, Earth's defense grid began to come online. Massive railguns and missile silos emerged from hidden locations, their targeting systems locking onto the approaching dreadnought. Fighter jets scrambled from airbases around the globe, their pilots ready to defend their planet against impossible odds. In orbit, the dreadnought began deploying smaller attack ships, their sleek designs bristling with weaponry. The first wave of Earth's fighters clashed with the Council's forces in a chaotic dogfight, explosions lighting up the sky like fireworks. Back in the bunker, Elena monitored the battle with a mixture of pride and dread. Earth's pilots were holding their own, but it was only a matter of time before the dreadnought's overwhelming firepower tipped the scales. Ambassador, she said, turning to Velyn. If you've got any tricks up your sleeve, now's the time to use them. Velyn thought for a moment, his mind racing. The Council's ships were formidable, but they weren't infallible. Every system had its weaknesses, and he knew the dreadnought's design well enough to exploit them. The ship's power core is heavily shielded, he said. But its shield generators are spread out across the hull. If we can disable enough of them, the core will be exposed. Elena's eyes narrowed. And how do we do that? I can send the schematics to your team, Velyn said. But it will require precise coordination. Your pilots will need to hit the generators simultaneously to create an opening. Elena nodded. Do it. As Velyn relayed the schematics, Earth's pilots prepared for a daring counterattack. The battle intensified, with the Council's forces pressing their advantage. Yet, despite the odds, humanity fought back with a tenacity that left even Velyn in awe. From the bunker, Elena watched as her pilots executed the plan with near-perfect precision. One by one, the dreadnought's shield generators were destroyed, leaving the massive ship vulnerable. Now's our chance, she said. Fire everything we've got at that core. Earth's railguns and missiles unleashed a devastating barrage, their combined firepower striking the dreadnought's exposed core. The resulting explosion lit up the sky, a brilliant testament to humanity's resilience and ingenuity. As the dust settled, Elena turned to Velyn. Looks like we're not as insane as you thought. Velyn couldn't help but smile. No, Commander. You're far more dangerous than I ever imagined. The aftermath of the dreadnought's destruction left Earth reeling, but not defeated. In the quiet moments that followed, Velyn stood alongside Elena and her crew, watching the fading debris of the massive Council ship drift into nothingness. The skies above were eerily silent, the tension now replaced by something far more unsettling, a quiet realization of what had just occurred. In the distant reaches of the galaxy, the Council had always regarded humanity as unpredictable, reckless even. But now, they had witnessed something far more dangerous. A world they had dismissed as inferior had not only survived but thrived in the face of overwhelming odds. Humanity had fought and won, not because of advanced technology or vast fleets, but because of something far more primal: determination, defiance, and an unrelenting spirit. Velyn could feel the weight of that realization pressing down on him. No longer could he view humanity as a species easily contained or subdued. What had happened today would ripple through the Council's domains, shaking the foundations of their control. Elena turned to Velyn, her gaze steady. "They'll be coming back," she said, her voice calm but resolute. "The Council won't accept this loss." Velyn nodded. "And now either will we. Earth has made its stand." "Good," Elena replied, her tone firm. "Because we're not done." Back in the bunker, the small group of humans had gathered, strategizing their next move. The Council wasn't just going to let them go free. Earth would be hunted, its autonomy questioned, and its people deemed too dangerous to be left alone. Elena laid out the situation. "Corlin will report back to the Council. They'll see this victory as more than just a military defeat. They'll see it as an existential threat. Humanity isn't just a rebel faction anymore, we're a symbol." Velyn, now more than an observer, found himself reflecting on the endless reports of humanity's defiance. What had once seemed like petty uprisings and minor skirmishes now made sense in a way they never had before. Humans weren't governed by fear or complacency. They were governed by something far more dangerous: insanity, in the eyes of many, but to them, simply survival. "Earth's refusal to bow will galvanize others," Velyn said, his mind racing. "The Council won't tolerate any species that refuses to fall in line. What they'll do next?" "I fear it won't be negotiation," Elena agreed. "The Council thrives on control, Velyn. They'll try to crush us entirely. But they've already made their mistake." "And what's that?" Velyn asked. "Eliminating a world that fights back," she replied. "Humanity isn't like other species. We don't give up. We don't surrender. And if they push us, we push harder." Velyn sighed, thinking of his own world and the countless others under the Council's rule. He had always believed in diplomacy, in finding common ground, in fostering peace. But what he had witnessed on Earth had shattered those ideals. Diplomacy required mutual respect and a shared understanding of stakes. The Council no longer saw Earth as part of the galaxy, they saw it as an enemy that needed to be eradicated. "Then what do we do?" Velyn asked. Elena stared at him for a long moment. "We prepare. We fight." On the outskirts of human territory, hidden from the eyes of the Council, a fleet was already being assembled. They weren't the vast, heavily armed armadas of the Council, but small, agile ships designed for stealth and guerrilla tactics. Humans had never possessed the sheer size or firepower of the Council fleets, but they made up for it with ingenuity and adaptability. Commander Elena Ward had become more than just a leader of a defense force, she had become a symbol of humanity's resilience. Her message was clear: Earth would never again be subjugated. They had tasted freedom, and they weren't willing to give it up. Velyn watched as the fleet took shape, his mind spinning with the implications of what was to come. Humans were unpredictable, but their refusal to yield was undeniable. They didn't just fight for their survival, they fought for their existence. "Ambassador," Elena said, turning to him, "your Council may view Earth as a threat, but I see it as an opportunity." Velyn raised an eyebrow. "An opportunity? For what?" he asked, unsure of what she meant. "For the galaxy to change," Elena replied. "Humanity may have been dismissed as insignificant, but we've proven we're not. And that changes everything." Velyn knew she was right. The Council wouldn't stop with Earth. If humanity had become a symbol of defiance, others would take notice. The galaxy, for all its vastness and endless systems, had always been governed by fear. But fear had a way of fueling resistance, and resistance, once sparked, couldn't be extinguished. As he watched Elena lead her people toward a future that now seemed uncertain and dangerous, Velyn couldn't help but wonder, had humanity merely been viewed as insane, or had they uncovered something the Council had long since lost? Hope. The remnants of the dreadnought drifted in the void, a testament to humanity's defiance. The battle had been fierce, the stakes higher than they had ever imagined. Earth had survived, but Velyn knew that the Council wouldn't stop there. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. The Council had seen what humans were capable of, and their response would be swift and brutal. Back in the bunker, the atmosphere was tense. The defeat of the dreadnought had been a victory, but it was far from the end of their struggle. Elena stood at the center of the room, her gaze firm as she addressed the gathered humans. "We've made our stand. We've proven we won't back down. But now, we have to fight smarter." Velyn watched her, still grappling with the gravity of the situation. He had always been an observer in the political games of the Council, but now, he was a participant. The Council would consider Earth an anomaly, something that threatened their authority. It wasn't just about humanity's survival anymore, it was about their place in the galaxy. "They'll come after us again," Elena continued. "And they won't stop until they've wiped us out." Velyn stepped forward, his voice steady. "And what do you propose?" "We can't match their fleets or their firepower." "No," Elena agreed. "But we don't have to." She walked over to a map displayed on a holographic screen. The symbols representing human outposts and Council strongholds danced before their eyes. "We've learned something today. We don't need to fight them head-on. We fight where they least expect it." She pointed to a remote sector on the map, far from the main Council territories. "This region is unexplored, untouched by the Council. They'll assume it's irrelevant, that we won't dare venture there." Velyn frowned. "And why would we go there?" "Because that's where we'll establish our new front," Elena said, her eyes blazing with determination. "We'll make them pay for every inch of human space they try to claim." Velyn hesitated. The Council wasn't known for forgiving those who dared to defy them. But there was something different about Earth now, something he had witnessed firsthand, their resilience, their refusal to back down. "It's a gamble," he admitted. "Everything we've done has been a gamble," Elena replied. "But we've already won our first battle. The Council will come for us. We need to be ready." Velyn knew she was right. Earth couldn't afford to be passive anymore. They had to take the fight to the Council, to show that humanity wasn't just a species to be crushed, it was a force to be reckoned with. In the far reaches of space, far from the watchful eyes of the Council, humanity began its silent war. Small fleets of human ships, faster and more adaptable, slipped through uncharted sectors, seeking refuge where none existed. Outposts were built in the most unlikely places, colonies established in regions deemed irrelevant by the Council. Velyn found himself watching these developments from a distance, his role shifting from diplomat to something far more uncertain. The Council had long considered humanity a minor player, a world too insignificant to be worth their attention. But now, even they couldn't ignore Earth's new defiance. Elena's leadership had forged something remarkable. Her vision wasn't just about survival, it was about reclaiming humanity's place in the galaxy. The old rules didn't apply anymore. The Council had miscalculated, and now, Earth would ensure they never made the same mistake again. He could see it in the eyes of every human soldier, every technician working tirelessly on the outskirts of Council space. They weren't just fighting for their survival anymore, they were fighting for their identity. Velyn realized he had changed too. His faith in diplomacy had been tested and broken. The Council no longer held the same authority in his mind. What he had witnessed on Earth wasn't insanity. It was something far more dangerous. Humanity wasn't just surviving. They were thriving. And in doing so, they were reshaping the galaxy in ways neither the Council nor any other species could have predicted. The Council would come again, that much was certain. But Earth wouldn't meet them with fear or submission. They would meet them as something far stronger, something they didn't fully understand. The galaxy had labeled humanity as insane, but perhaps, That was precisely what made them the most dangerous force in the universe.